Hello, my friends. I'm just going to sit down on my picnic table and enjoy a beverage. I'm attempting to open this with one hand. I think this may be the same thing I drank last time I did a live stream. My favorite canned margarita. No, they are not sponsoring me. But it'd be great if they did, because I have a lot of great things to say about it, but I'm not going to say it for free. Yo, Direktovic. Cheers. Oh, God. I think I mentioned this last time I did this, but I very rarely have opportunities to drink anymore. My life is very work focused, as you can see behind me. If you missed my last video, I've been very busy finishing the shed, which I'm now generously referring to as a cabin. Cheers, Karma. Last time I had a drink was the 4th of July. I went to the local barbecue out here, which is the only social event that I've gone to the entire time I've lived here, this is my 3rd summer. I'm not sure if it's actually been 3 full years, but I know it's my 3rd summer. And I've gone to this barbecue every year, and weirdly enough, it's gotten more awkward over time, not less. It's a concrete company barbecue. And the only reason I was there was because one of my neighbors, who lives over yonder, is a former employee of this place, and so he invited me. But he is as much of a hermit as I am. So we go to this thing, and then he just kind of sits in the back and doesn't talk to anybody. And so therefore I don't talk to anybody either, because I have no introductions. So it was a very weird experience. Sat there for a long time just like trying to find an in with anybody, and couldn't find the opening. No one was, making any attempt to connect with us, and I didn't know how to do the same with them. So I just like, well, guess I'll sit here and have a few drinks and go home. Anyway, that's a story I've already talked about at great length in the Discord chat. I won't repeat it here because it's a bummer. But my point was that was the last time I had a drink. Little Louie, easy there, buddy. Calm down. Yes, I have my cat. My cat is inside. He'll probably come out and say hi at some point soon. Don't worry. But yeah, I'm not going to try to pronounce. Maybe I will try to pronounce that. Alterith. That's pretty much what I did. The last 2 years before that, I stuck it out, and I guess I got drunk enough to have a good time. But this time it wasn't happening. I kept pounding beers, waiting for the good time to start, and it didn't start. So I left. And I realized that I don't know if like a social life is going to happen for me out here. The thought was always kind of in the background, like, yes, I have this going on, which is not social, not intended to be. But I thought, once in a while I'll go down there. Where is it? Down there. And mingle amongst the people and, small town kind of culture. Get some community going that way. I'm going to turn my air conditioner off, by the way. Another huge upgrade to my lifestyle. I have been roasting in this thing the entire time I've been here, every summer, the first summer I bought a portable air conditioner, like one of those giant bulky things, and that sort of was tolerable, but it's incredibly loud, and the only place to put it was right next to my computer desk, and it just kind of drove me crazy. But then I put it in storage unit for the winter, and somebody robbed my storage unit and stole my AC. So the following summer, I was like, am I really going to buy another one of those things and suffer through that again? I just decided, nah, I'll be fine. And I suffered through an excruciatingly hot summer, which was up to 113 Fahrenheit last year. I think that was the peak. And but this year I decided, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna bite the bullet and get a proper window unit. And the reason I didn't do this for so long is because, as you can see, air conditioners aren't made for horizontally opening windows. They basically don't exist. There's a couple specialty ACs that are like 3 times the cost, and I actually bought one of those last year briefly, and I took it in here and saw that the setup was almost as complicated as this, and I just returned it because I didn't want to deal with that. But yeah, you have to do some jury rigging. So this is a sheet of plywood here that I just sort of cut to size here, and I'll show you how I rigged it inside. It's complicated. Oh, and also, let's give you guys a proper view. For those of you who haven't seen my latest video yet, that's the finished outpost. Much improved from how this all began in a white plastic wrapped box. I'm very happy to be in a actual home type structure now. All right, little Louie, there's the man. Happy now? He will inevitably terrorize the live stream more. But yeah, I wanted to show you my setup. I had to make this, complicated framing device to hold the AC into the window frame, prop it closed and everything, paint it. Took a few hours, but man, I have never in my life improved my life so much with so little money. $150 for the difference between being absolutely miserable for 3 to 4 months out of the year. Oh wait, I was going to turn that off. Or being comfortable in the summer, which is unheard of. Most people in Western Washington don't have AC at all because it doesn't get that hot on the west side. So it's not usually necessary, but that doesn't mean it's not still wonderful when you do have it. And thank you, my forever home. I struggled with the colors a lot. If you watched the video, you saw there was a moment where I actually had painted the entire thing just a slightly darker shade of that tan, and decided I couldn't stand it and managed to return some of the paint, but most of it I just had to eat the cost, and repainted the whole thing because I'm a unsatisfiable artist. I can't tolerate the wrong color. So anyway, if I let myself think about it this way, it's a little bit McDonald's-y, but I didn't really notice that until after I saw how yellow the stain was going to be. Same with this picnic table, which I bought in a very crude form at Home Depot. It was all, shitty, splintery wood and not sealed at all. And I spent all of yesterday sanding everything and then staining it. So now the picnic table matches the trim. So that's fun. Somebody asked me how hot. Today, it's cooling down now. Let me check. 97 right now, Fahrenheit. which I don't know how that translates to Celsius or whatever centigrade is. Is that the same as Celsius? I don't know. I'm American. But yeah, there's a nice cool breeze today. I'm really not so bothered by the heat this year. Little Louie, I didn't get him back. This is a different cat. Believe it or not, there are more than one cat in the world. Watson, the subject of my video, I'm assuming is what you're talking about. He's still with the lady. I got Bob, I guess it would have been about almost 5 years ago, something like that. So yeah, different cat. Watson is doing well, as far as we know. Probably due for another check-in soon. I'm actually planning that trip across the mountains, so I'll maybe stop in and visit him. So, yeah, my life has been all about this for a while. I finished, finishing this thing. I spent 5 weeks working on that obsessively, as you saw in the video. And then you finish it, and it's kind of like, what now? And there's a lot of things that I want to be doing, like working on my book, working on a movie script, all this stuff that I want to start, but I can't start any of these projects yet because I'm waiting for other people to come through with their contributions to it, which is really frustrating. So I'm basically kind of in limbo again, and I'm thinking like, well, there's really only one last project here before this is like a fully functional space, and that is to install a outdoor shower right in that little gap there. I'm going to make a little booth that allows me to plug into my water heater and have like a real shower instead of this incredibly annoying thing, which gets the job done. It's meant for camping. It's a little propane powered water heater. Not that I need hot water right now, but this is my shower. I showed you in that video too. Found this is actually the most practical way to take a shower so that I don't, get water all over the house and have it pool up on the ground into the crawl space and everything. So yeah, this works okay. Only problem is that this thing is really unpredictable and it blows out in the slightest wind. That's why I have it in that shelter. And it's also just like not at all practical for winter time. Believe it or not, I am planning to have an outdoor shower in the winter. I think it can be done. I have this like supposedly freeze-proof faucet that sucks the water back inside after it's done. So, but if nothing else, it would just be amazing to come out here and just like pop the water on in a nice little booth with my towel hanging over the edge and take a quick rinse without being assaulted by swarms of bees. And well, yeah, forever home. Technically, I guess those people over there could see me if they had a telescope. They're probably, I don't know, a mile away. It's hard to gauge from here. But that's really the only person who could possibly see anything. I guess the ones over there technically probably could as well with binoculars, but that tree is in the way, so they'd have an obstructed view. Obviously, I don't care too much about being spotted because I actually flashed you all in a YouTube video seen by thousands of people before being informed and taking it down. But yeah, I don't care. I mean, my concern with nudity is more always about like not bothering other people. I don't care if I'm seen. I just don't want to be, arrested. So pretty sure that doesn't happen out here. This is land of the free. Tanya, water supply is well. That was, oh, there he is. Welcome, Bob. Always wants to get in on the show. What a great sponsored shot right there. Come on, Cutwater. Come through for me. I'll let you, I'll pet Bob so you can pet him vicariously. Oh, he wants a drink. Even cats approve. Yeah, so my water source is a well, which I'll show you. Why not? Give you a little tour. I tried to set this up in horizontal aspect so that I could give you a proper tour, but it broke on me. It didn't work. So why is this one comment about me working so hard like pinned to the bottom of the chat? It's like not going away, even as everyone else chimes in. Anyway, I want to show you my system here. So yeah, like technically I am on the grid. This is the power panel. Weirdly, you know, surprisingly, there is actually grid power all the way out here. There's no power lines or anything, but they ran the wire up the road. It was over the top of that hill is where it ended, and I had to get it, trenched all the way down here, which was a tough choice. I originally intended to do solar, which is, the traditional off-grid model, and then I found out that the power was available, and I talked to a bunch of solar companies, and they all kind of told me like getting off-grid solar when you have grid power right in the street is just a vanity move. It's not practical at all. The costs and complexity of an off-grid solar system they vastly outweigh the costs and simplicity of just plugging in. My ultimate goal would be to have solar and grid power, so I'd offset it with solar, and minimize my usage of grid power. But having access to it, it just simplifies life a lot, because to have a battery powered solar system requires a lot of complicated like lifestyle strategizing. So I opted not to do that. But there's my well. That little tube sinks 500 feet down into the earth, which is how far they go to hit water, because I'm way up in the mountains here. Which, if you ever wondered why not many people live on mountaintops, that is a big reason why. Because it's very hard to get to the water. Only like eccentrics who must live on mountain peaks do this, and that is me. In fact, my last 3 homes have all been on a peak of some kind. Wow, Bob's really curious about the cutwater here. What's up, man? He's pretty stoked to have a new surface to climb on. Howdy, neighbor. Is that an actual neighbor in the chat? Happy Mondays? Or are you just being colloquial? I know that one of my neighbors actually does watch my stuff. I don't know where, but every time I run into them, they're like, I saw your video. So maybe that's these folks talking to me right now. I don't know. I kind of doubt it based on the profile picture, but you never know. Bob does want some drink. I feel like someone asked me an important question back here. I'm scanning a little bit. No, I guess not. How does it feel to be a minimalist? Well, I'm a little more, the problem is I'm really not a minimalist. I'm living in a maximalist way in a minimalist structure. So, case in point, I mean, you've all seen this probably in some of my other videos, but let me just demonstrate again how wacky this is. Oh, by the way, just in case anyone wasn't aware, Bob is master of the house. This is my signage, and then he has his own down there. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely should be minimalist, But I, for some reason, decided to have, a full-size electric piano instead of, laptop MIDI controller or something, a big giant synthesizer, a whole, studio of recording gear here, which is, relatively minimalist recording gear, but still, drawers upon drawers of camera lenses and recording interfaces and whatnot. Uh, More instruments, more gear, food. That's not minimalist, but it's the equipment, the stuff that I can't seem to part with. I'm even starting to accumulate a library up there, which was not my intention, but so it goes. Um, yeah, I guess, it's still relatively minimalist, but, oh, you know what Bob is so excited about? He wants to get inside that box. He's like, when can you hurry up and drink all these so that I can climb in the box? I see you, Bob. I should be more minimalist, but I just do too many things. Let's really lift my drink in here. I have so many irons in the fire, jack of all trades, master of none. I guess, writing is the one trade that I consider to be like a legitimate skill of mine, and then I just do all this other dabbling for whatever reason. I guess because I want to do it all, first of all, because I enjoy it, and then there's probably some thought of like I should diversify my interests because the writing industry could collapse at any moment, which it kind of feels like it is. So it's good to have other stuff going on in case I need other things to jump to if the ship sinks. Holly, I like you. I like your logic there. I will doubtfully be having more than one drink because I need to maintain my clarity while talking to the world. I feel like last time I did this, I got a little too tipsy and started rambling ill-advisedly. I can't remember what I said, but I remember thinking like I should probably rein it in because I am on camera right now. Yeah, Jamie Justice mentioned loving red doors, and I mentioned this in the video about the construction. I realized like most of you probably didn't watch that whole video because it was a half hour long. It's like an actual episode of TV, but toward the end of it, I talked about the door, and I found out I always knew that red doors meant something. I had just heard this somewhere, but I looked it up, and it was actually, there's a couple really interesting meanings, at least in America. I don't know if this is true anywhere else, but originally it was like a signal to travelers that they were welcome to stop in and like, I don't, at least to like tie up their horses and maybe get water or something, but maybe they were actually welcome to stay there. But it was like a, signal to people that it was like a friendly place, a safe place, which is kind of the meaning that I have in mind by painting it red, is that, it's a long way off, but my long-term goal for this place is to kind of make it to open it up a little bit to other people. Not like in a very public way, but, hand-picked friends and stuff. I'd like to come out and, when I eventually get a house built down there, I'm going to use this place for like a guest cabin. And ideally, the dream would be to like have a close friend move in to this and like live here full time. And then I sort of have like a neighbor. I always fantasized when I used to live in apartments. I never wanted to have roommates, and I didn't for most of my apartment years. But I always thought it would be awesome to like live in the same apartment building as my friends and just like go down the hall to hang out with them. That would be kind of the ideal scenario. And this is sort of like the rural version of that concept. Of course, a lot would have to happen before that can be possible, many, many years down the road, but it is kind of like the long-term vision of like a space where I still have my solitude, I still have my privacy, not forced to interact with anybody, but people are around if I want to, walk across the hillside and say hi to somebody. I think that would be a nice compromise. Holly really wants me to get wasted, doesn't she? Wants me to empty this whole box. Oh, and the other thing with the door, which I also found out, I think is, I don't know which came first, but then in the later days of American history, it was also like um, a signal for like runaway slaves, um, or yeah, I guess like that was the main idea. It was part of the Underground Railroad, so it was like a signal that this was a safe house, which I always kind of wondered, like, how did that not become public knowledge, and then they would just like go arrest whoever had a door painted red. But that's what I read on the internet anyway, which I thought was cool. I'm not expecting any actual refugees out here, but extrapolating poetically, you could call desperate urbanites refugees of a sort. Essie, welcome. I will give you a tattoo tour someday, Tanya. Um, maybe if I start getting more comfortable with these live streams, start doing them more often, I'll do more like shorter ones for fun, like not necessarily, a weekend hangout. What inspired me to do it today was just like I was gonna go over the mountains back to civilization this weekend and see some people, and I basically just chickened out. I was like, I don't know how to do this mentally. I just can't get over the block of going, how do you go from this to cramming through summer traffic in Seattle and trying to find a parking spot to go have a drink with someone that I haven't talked to in years. It's just like, man, it's hard to find the appreciation for that side of life anymore. And I'm kind of conflicted about it because I'm like, well, do I need to? I don't know. I feel like I need to somewhat, because having no social life, like for the last almost a year and a half, I think, I've had one friend out here. Her name's Liz, and she popped up in some of my other videos. And she lived an hour away from here, but she would come out and visit sometimes, and I'd go down there and visit on the weekends, and we'd go out and like go on off-road adventures and go to bars and stuff. And it's like, it was a light relationship, but it kind of took the edge off of the solitude, and really kind of distracted me from the reality of my life to some extent. So that ended recently. We're not in contact anymore, and now I'm just like, wow, I'm really raw dogging it now. And it's still fine. Like I stand by everything I said in those other videos about, being a social camel and all that, and not having a huge need for social life. But it's a little more pronounced now, and I'm starting to think like, I probably should not let that totally consume me, So it's too peoply out there. Yes, it sure is. It gets more peoply every day, and I get less peoply. The most unexpected part of my off-grid life, positive and negative. It's a good question. I would say, start with negative. I'm really actually trying hard to think of one, because the social thing is very real. I guess mildly unexpected was just how much of a barrier there is to connecting with a new area, a new community. I always kind of imagined that I would have the option when I wanted it of like going down into town and like getting involved with something. Like I'd meet people somehow, either just through hanging out at a bar or maybe like going to concerts. There is one place that has concerts here, which I've been to a few times. Or even like, I thought I'd get on a dating app and meet somebody, and like even if that doesn't go anywhere, I'd probably meet people through her, and then just that's how a lot of my social branching has come from dating situations. And some of my still good friends to this day are people that I used to date. So like it happens that way sometimes, in a lot of different ways it could happen. But what was unexpected is finding out that like none of that is happening out here, because this culture. It's very insular culture, which, you know, you think of like country folk, and the stereotype is kind of like they tend to be friendly, like, you know, down home, good old folks who just, you know, bake you a pie and whatever. But I find that there's another side to the rural culture, which is sort of the reverse of that. I guess it just depends on like who you're talking to. They're one extreme or the other. But what I've been encountering a lot is just like really closed off. Like if you're not already known, you know, it's kind of more like the old Western style rural where you walk into the saloon and everyone looks at you and they're like stranger, uh, and they just like won't give you the time of day. So I've been discovering that, like, yeah, I think it's going to be harder than I thought to ever like become part of this place. You know, I'm very much an outsider, and I think maybe I always will be out here. I don't know what it would take to get welcomed in, other than my neighbors out here. Like my immediate neighbors have been pretty welcoming, but it's just like, where do you go with that? You know, everybody I've met on this whole, you know, mountain expanse is like 30 years older than me, and interested in very, very different things, and just really have no interest in anything that I'm interested in. So it's like, well, either I, you know, get into their stuff, become a hunter and fisher, and get excited about football, or nothing's happening because nobody cares about, you know, writing and movies and video games and stuff that I'm involved in. Which is, you know, fair enough. I'm the newcomer. I don't expect to walk in and change the way that they think. But that's just the reality of it. So, to your question, that's one of the unexpected negative sides. Unexpected positives, I guess probably overall just like how okay I am with no people. How much joy I've been getting from the simplest little interactions that don't involve human dynamics at all. Like lately, I've just been geeking out about bugs, like just all the bizarre bugs. In fact, there's one right now. I was gonna feature this guy. I can't zoom in close enough. Look at that guy. Isn't that look like a Pokemon or something? It was cartoonish shit. It's just goofy. And I've just been enjoying like the interactions with critters of all kinds. There's so much life here. Mammal-wise, pretty much just deer. Surprised the wasps haven't come from my drink yet. I just realized how sugary this is. Got to guard this carefully. Mammal-wise, it's deer. I did see a few chipmunks, which Bob chased up a tree. And then, of course, there's, you know, the hypothetical bears, which I have spotted a couple times, and the mountain lions, which are my likeliest way to die out here, because they actually will attack people, whereas black bears run away. Oh God, Tanya, you're a blue dress, you're a white dress person, aren't you? That bug is completely solid white. I don't know, but then again, it's probably looks bizarre in the shading. There are no ticks, not up here. It's actually, wasps are really the only pest. Everything else is pretty much chill, so that's been nice. Although the outhouse situation, the flies have started to make their presence known. For some reason last year, no problem. This year, they got in, they found out about the poop pile, and they're taking advantage of it, and I'm resorting to increasingly drastic measures to deal with that problem, because there is nothing like the sensation of having flies buzz on your butthole. Do not recommend it. That's probably something that very few people have experienced. I don't ever recommend crossing that line. But when you sit down on that toilet and it disturbs them, they come rushing up out that hole, it's unacceptable. I'm getting ready to dump some very harsh chemicals down there to just wipe out whatever is left of them, and then seal off the toilet seat. Hopefully that will do it. Uh, yeah, so negatives are heart can't find any friends. Positives are bugs are cool, except for the flies. So that's the balance of life out here. And Monday, happy Mondays is this my ideal forever home? I don't know. Um, it's hard not to have doubts about any crazy big decision like this all the time because there's just so much to it. I have had moments after that 4th of July experience. I kind of like sent me on a little spiral where I thought like, what am I doing out here? Like, there's so many other places I could be. I could sell this place, and, take the money and go live in a beach shack in Thailand or something, just like something completely disconnected from my known life, which I totally could, and it would be a different kind of amazing. But I feel like my vision for being out here, it still remains true. I still want what I set out here to get, which was sort of like a cleansing, a palate cleansing. What I love about how stark it is, like what it drew me to this area is just the raw, dry, sterile, just clean stone slate of it all. There's a feeling of when you're out here, it just feels like it's hard to describe. It's just like everything is stripped away, and there's something very like cleansing about that feeling and I guess that's what I need to keep coming back to because I didn't come out here to have a rip roaring social life and go out and have girlfriends and party and whatever. It's like that was the opposite of that. I left the city to get away from all that, and the reasons for that are still strong in my mind. It's been hard to stay focused on that because of how much bullshit I've been dealing with. I came out here to like focus on my writing, and instead I'm building a house. I'm building an outhouse. I'm battling flies in the outhouse. There's all this non-art stuff that has consumed like 80% of my mental energy. That has made it difficult to kind of keep my eye on the prize, but I keep thinking like I have to give it a shot. I have to see it through, and the completion point of that for me is building a house down there. When I have a house that like has all those functions, like a bathroom, a shower, an office where I can set up my computer and all my music gear, and like spaces to relax, a place to sit and read books, stuff like that. And more importantly, like a place that I can bring people out to if when I do feel that social need. Um, when I have that, that will be like the vision in its completion. And if you know, I have to get to that point before I can make a decision on this place. If I get the house done and it still isn't fulfilling, then maybe I scrap it and try another plan. I've been chasing this elusive dream of you know fulfillment. I've been chasing it around for a long time. And I don't feel like it's chasing in a circle. I feel like I do make progress. I get closer every time. I learn things. I learn from the mistakes. I learn from the pros and cons of each situation, and then I fine tune it a little bit more. So I feel like this is it's the closest I've ever been. It has almost everything that I need, and it may be that I need this plus something else like a side life. I've been thinking about maybe getting a camper van again and having like a B list life where after I do this, the monk life out here, just me in the wasteland writing my novels, then I'll hop in a van and head back to the city and try to have some fun. But it's difficult to do both. That's kind of what I'm trying to do now. I do use diatomaceous earth Mondays. It doesn't seem to be doing the trick for these flies, at least not yet. Maybe it takes a while to eradicate them. But I'm about to upgrade that from diatomaceous to lime, which is like caustic and will actually kill the flies and their larvae. That's what is traditional, country outhouses have been doing for centuries. And I avoided it because it's weird to have like burning powder right next to your butt. But if you're careful with it, shouldn't be a problem. K. Michelle, no, it's not a composting toilet. it's a pit toilet. And in retrospect, I kind of wish that I had done composting because of just the problems that I'm dealing with right now, which probably wouldn't be an issue with composting because it's much more contained. Um, I can still convert it to composting. All I have to do is seal over the pit and, put the composting toilet on top, which I may do at some point. I did it pit style for a lot of complicated reasons that I won't bore you with now because I've already talked too much about toilets for our Saturday night drinking stream. Yeah, the state of the world, Emily. Indeed. Let's not get into today's events, but holy shit, I just saw that right before I started streaming, and I'm like, well, don't want to think about that and what consequences that might have. So let's focus on God's country. Oh, one of those big flies just went by. So I saw speaking of bugs that I love, there's this big fly out here, this creature. I don't even know if you'd call it a fly. It's almost like a dragonfly. It's about that long. I don't know if you can tell the scale, but um, they're really annoying. They're very loud. They fly around they sound like old like World War II airplanes, just like sputtering, backfiring diesel planes. But I just saw one yesterday with a dead yellow jacket in its mouth, and apparently they're called assassin flies, and they kill all the other nasty bugs. Don't do anything to people. They have no interest in humans, but they kill. I don't. Maybe they kill honeybees too, which isn't cool. But but yeah, they kill wasps. So I was very proud of that. So I found a new friend out here. By the way, I got distracted there for a second by this absolutely majestic grasshopper. Just he's been sitting there on this peak, watching me with absolute serenity for a few minutes now. Let's see. Yeah, Jamie, I mean, taking you on the journey is such a pleasure for me. I mean, I can't deny it. Like this is kind of a alternative to the community that I was hoping to build in real life out here. Starting to realize that the real in-person community is probably not going to happen out here. I still need IRL life, but I think I'm probably going to have to either go find it somewhere else or bring it to me, which is kind of my preferred mode. I'm thinking it's kind of why I'm so motivated to build a house down there, is I've talked to a lot of the neighbors that I've met out here. The recurring theme is like people always want to come out and visit them because it's beautiful out here and it's very different from the rest of the state. And so like if I could get a comfortable place to set up where like there was a couple of spare beds and people could come out and stay with me, then I could probably bring the world to me when I wanted it, which would be ideal. So yeah, that's the journey. Sorry about the unappetizing chat, Essie. No more outhouse stuff, I promise. I don't know about pine beetles. I don't know what that is. And yeah, it's not too late to go back. I've been having conversations about that lately. My sister is always trying to, offer me permission to return because everyone probably thinks on some level I feel like I'm committed to being out here now because I've hyped it so much, which is kind of true to a little bit extent. Like I don't really plan on letting that inform my big life decisions, but it's a little bit of influence. It's just like I can't bail already, I'm just getting started here. But more importantly, it's that I want to see it through. I want to see the end result, which is I'm getting closer. Like this picnic table, for example, I realized vacation. My family all came out and stayed in a nearby town, and they came out and visited here to check out, to see my finished shed and to see what I've been up to. And there was maybe 10 of them, and it really made me realize like, man, it's not. I can't host out here, because they all just kind of came out and it was like they were just standing in the driveway. There's nowhere to sit, there's nowhere to really be. We walked down to the building site and everyone was just kind of standing around, like kind of shading the sun out of their eyes. And I realized like you need spaces, like to have a home be comfortable for people. You need like stations around that people can like slot into easily. So I picked up this picnic table to kind of get that started, and I got an umbrella on order to put in that hole. So it'd be kind of like a little bistro spot out here that I can sit. And for myself as well, it'll give me kind of like a chill spot to come out and like read and maybe even eat my dinner if the wasps will allow me to. Somebody asked what Bob is up to, and there's your answer. Oh yeah. He demands the belly rubs. Oh, look at that. He's such a goober. He is the best at just enjoying summer. Maximum chill. Flat time, yes. Bob, go flat. Since I've got you on rear camera for all the newcomers, this is what I'm living in now. Big upgrade, big improvement to my lifestyle and well-being. I mean, really, it's all cosmetic, other than the fact that it used to be like in a constant state of decay because it was just plastic wrapped and it was getting more and more damaged every winter. So it was a big relief to get that finished and know that, okay, now it's sealed. I'm safe in here. Security issues? Absolutely not. There's no people up here. I mean, maybe other parts of the hill, I don't know. What I've gathered is like rural places like this, unless you are like in a really sketchy area, like a meth valley or something, where, you know, I don't even know if that exists out here. I've never seen it, but rural areas like this, it's much safer than urban environments, like much safer. And the main reason, well, partly it's just, you know, if say 1 out of every 100 people is a criminal, if you only have 5 people, then it's very unlikely that one of them is a criminal. So smaller population generally equals fewer problems with people. But there's also the kind of the neighborhood watch factor, which is that everybody out here, you know, everybody who lives out here knows each other or knows someone who knows the other person. It's kind of a network. And if anybody were to, you know, break the code, it would be disastrous for them. Everyone would know about it, find out about it somehow, and it just doesn't happen. Down in Brewster, the town below is, you know, the likelier place where you think it might happen, because it's a lot of like lower income kind of housing and all that stuff, migrant workers and such. But from what I gather, there's like almost no crime there either, because it's like people come here to work. It's you know, everybody lives, well, not everybody who lives there, but like a lot of the population works in these orchards. And so like some of them are actually coming here every year from Jamaica to just for the summer to work, kind of like how fishermen do in Alaska. They'll come here from Jamaica and work all summer and then go back with their money. And like they're not trying to commit crimes here. They're not trying to ruin their meal ticket. And it's the same with people who live here for the most part. It's like you just don't do that. There's kind of like a sense of honor, I think, to it, or even just self-preservation. It's like, no, this is, you know, you're out in the middle of the wilderness. You know, you don't want to mess up your status in the community by, you know, carjacking somebody or something. Because if you get you know, a bad reputation, you're screwed. So that's my sociological theory on it anyway. I have no actual data about it. But that's my impression from talking to people and observing out here. It's a pretty pretty wholesome place. Rogue Loki, funny that you noticed that from that brief little swipe about the flat space on the side of the shack. That was actually always planned to be a mural. And what are we talking about? This spot, where like in any rational home, there would be a window there. But because I designed this shed, it's not rational and there are no windows. I was all about wall space, which is, you know, I stand by it because if I had a window there, I would have no place for my closet. But yeah, so a friend of mine who is kind of like a wizard, he has recently gotten into, he's always been kind of like into esoteric stuff, and symbolism and numerology and, you know, sacred geometry and stuff like that. And he has recently, he's kind of an artist too. He is an artist, and he does like these sort of mandalas and mathematical algorithm drawings, for lack of a better word, like these really detailed, elaborate designs that he makes. And he's like super precise and does beautiful work. And he has started doing this thing. He's making sigils, which is like kind of a medieval concept, or I don't exactly know how to explain it in mythical terms, but it's basically, you know, a rune that is designed for a purpose, like to kind of embody a concept. And I'm having him do one for me, and what he does is he kind of like asks you a bunch of questions about like what you want out of life, basically, is what it comes down to. Like what you're trying to do, what your goals are, and like what you want to strive toward. And so like we had this conversation about what this is all about, you know, the whole outpost thing. And it was really interesting, like challenged, because, you know, I had to confront that question, like, what am I doing out here? Like, what is the goal of this? I know there's something to it, but I haven't really put it into words before. And so I did that with him, and he's creating this design, which is, he's almost done with it. He's just inking the final sketch now. And it kind of like symbolically ties together all the stuff that I'm about, basically. And by extension, kind of what the whole Outer Edge Outpost thing is about. So I'm going to, when he's done with that, I'm going to paint that on that blank space. I'm going to get a projector or find some way to blow it up onto the wall and paint a big, it's kind of a circular design with a triangle in the middle and some other stuff mixed through it. And I'm going to paint that on there, and it's going to be kind of like, I think it's going to be kind of a pseudo logo for Outer Edge Outpost. It kind of embodies like the themes of this channel, and just the themes of my life by extension. And it's really cool design, and I love the symbolism of it and kind of what it all represents, and I'm probably going to use it on a lot of things, maybe get a tattoo of it. So I'm going to paint that mural on that spot, and also would like to get some planters going on over there. But I'm kind of holding off on the plant life until I like have the construction done, because it's just it's hard to know exactly where to put things. Things are always kind of shuffling around, and like there needs to be, you know, machines are going to be running through here and dumping new gravel on the road and everything. So it's a bad time to set up delicate life. The Irrational Shack. That could be its nickname. Yeah, Emily, I mean, I don't know if it'll make a book very literally. Like I don't know if I'd write a book about like just my memoirs of doing this, but I'm certain it will inspire a story of some kind. I've already kind of been playing around with a story idea that is very much inspired by this experience, and I don't know. It's the way it came out in my mind is a bit too Fallout adjacent, and I have to like find ways to distance it from that vibe more so. As much as I would love to write Fallout fan fiction, I can't be doing that. So, but yeah, there's an idea of, you know, somebody living in a place like this and then returning to discover great change in the world and dealing with that. that will be relevant to my life. Yeah, K Michelle, I mean, I don't take security for granted, but like I've been here 3 years and there's nothing going on. Like for someone to try to rob a house out here, it would be so hard for them to do. I don't even know how they would begin. I mean, like you're gonna drive up someone's like 300-foot driveway in the middle of the night where they can see your headlights from miles away and like rob their house. I mean, while people are watching from all around, it's just so unlikely. It could happen, but the other thing is like I don't really have anything worth stealing. The only real item of value I have is my computer, which would suck to lose, but you know, it wouldn't destroy my life. Definitely. Oh yeah, katana. I thought you said front door camera, and I was about to say definitely not. But front door katana, definitely yes. I mean, I do have a gun in there. I think I showed you guys my rifle before. I also have a bear spray can. So, you know, if I had a direct confrontation with somebody, I would have plenty of recourse. As far as somebody, you know, coming to terrorize the house while I'm not here, it just seems really unlikely. The guy who feeds raccoons. I think I've seen the raccoon guy. Like, there's probably a lot of raccoon guys. Yeah, I mean, it's as far as like romance for me, it's it's a long shot out here. I mean, like I don't think I'm going to meet anybody out here. In addition to all the other reasons that I explained earlier about just like kind of the brick wall of social life, people aren't single here. Like everybody gets married when they're like 16 and they have kids and they're just out. By the time if they hit my age, like maybe if I get lucky, I catch someone between divorces, but I haven't yet. So yeah, it's probably not going to happen here. Hence my desire to wander abroad and you know um, explore the world like I used to. A lot of cool people in the world, but they're just never in the same place that you are. That's the problem. And having internet, you know, being able to see all the people out there and realize just how like impoverished your local pool is really a bummer. Much like my high school experience with a class of 10 people. Wasn't a lot of good matches in that small pool. I will start gardening eventually. I definitely I want to do the whole, you know, fully self-sustaining thing. I want to grow vegetables and all that stuff. It's just that's I feel like that's like that's building onto a solid foundation. I mean, I spent the last couple of days just like trying to figure out how to push back the encroaching brush because I don't even have gravel on my driveway yet. So, bigger problems to deal with first. Why are we talking about Andrew Tate? What does that have to do with anything? Thanks for stopping in, Essie. Good to talk to you. Wait, is that a spammer? Is that what's happening here? Am I getting Andrew Tate spam? Wow, I might have to get moderators eventually. Gardening, wildlife is an issue for the gardening. Yeah, everybody who has plants out here, basically everything has to be completely enclosed in fencing because the deer will just destroy anything that's edible. Um, which is not a big problem. I mean, people just put up fencing. It's the same with the orchards. The orchards are all fenced in. Um, it's ugly. Aesthetically, it's a problem, but yeah, it's fine. Wait, so why does Andrew Tate have like Does he pay people to go advertise himself on other people's streams? That's so weird. Like, why would, isn't he in jail? What's that about? Anyway, enough about him. I am gonna get chickens, Frankie. That's probably even higher priority than a garden. Probably the very first thing I will do when I get this this landscape settled is get a chicken coop, because eggs are like my primary protein. I eat a lot of eggs. It's like, yeah, it's most of it. Meat is a rarity in my diet. And it would be amazing to have like fresh, healthy, high quality eggs to eat. Also, I just love chickens. Like, they're just cute and I like having them around, and they would eat the bugs and it would be great. But it's really all like, it's all bottlenecked behind getting this house built, because I can't have stuff like that going on when there's like bulldozers and trucks and just chaos happening in here, because it'll be wrecked. I need to get like the whole site settled to where it's going to be, get the ground cover set, and then I can build on the ground. I can't be putting stuff up. So it's premature, basically. So yeah, looking forward to it though. Oh, Bob is up, stretching it out, coming to join the stream. Hop up, buddy. He approaches with a purpose. He's to whack me with his tail. I love moments like this where we just like sit together. Cheers. Just a couple of guys. What I would grow, arugula for sure. That's my primary vegetable at the moment. Broccoli, and probably broccoli, arugula, and carrots would be my main crops. The tricky thing is, like, to grow that stuff in the winter is advanced, and I don't know quite how to do that. You have to like get grow lights set up or something. Oh, look at this guy. He's headbutting all over me. I headbutt him too. You know, I don't know. That's a good question, Directivic. Well, I guess that's what the coop is all about, because those predators aren't really going to attack during the broad daylight. So you have the coop and you lock them up at night, and then predators aren't a problem. It might still attract them. I don't know. I have to do some research into that, actually, because I don't want coyotes to be drawn to the area because of this guy. So far, it hasn't been an issue. They never get close. But yeah, I don't want to change the equilibrium that I've established, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong in a place like this, and I've somehow established a balance that works. Wow, he's really hamming it up for you guys. Yes, that is a tracker collar, Holly. Tractive is the brand. It's a GPS collar, not the shitty Bluetooth tracking collars that are not worth anything. This one is actually like has its own cell service, and has an app, and I can open it up and see exactly where he is. And it's been a huge peace of mind booster, because now whenever he changes his behaviors or habits at all, I don't have to panic. I just go find, oh shit, my drink just blew across the table. Didn't spill though. We just about had our first spill on this picnic table. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the chicken thing. I mean, lots of people about out here have chickens. It seems to work. It's possible that, you know, I don't think there I don't think there's weasels out here. Never heard of that. But yeah, so you know about this area, Loki. The wind is the rain of Eastern Washington. Like you get away from Western Washington to escape the rain, and here there's no rain, but it's the wind. And yes, Emily, so cozy. This is the only place he wants to be. Even when it's so hot out, he's got to get on the lap. Just a big old slut. Yeah, the wind is insane, and especially on the mountaintop here. I don't know I, how, I haven't seen a lot of it down in the valley, but up here on the peak, it is brutal. And I still prefer it though. I mean, to each their own. But wind, either way, like you can't really do anything. If it's pouring down rain or it's super windy, you just have to stay inside. So it doesn't really change the circumstances that much. But it, the benefit is like wind doesn't destroy your belongings. It doesn't cause everything to rot and mold. It may blow things off the cliff once in a while. So I guess maybe it's not all that different. I think I still prefer it over the rain. But at least it's still pretty. Like the wind is dramatic and it still looks beautiful out here. In fact, on really windy days, the clouds go insane, and it just drives up the drama cloud-wise to an extreme degree. Yeah, I guess the hair issue, I don't know. Maybe that's a different problem. For me, it's mostly been about construction. Like while I was doing this project, the wind would not leave me alone. And it's not fun being up on a tall ladder, carrying, you know, a 8-foot sheet of plywood when the winds are doing their thing. I don't know, Rancho. My cats have always been like this. I think it could be luck of the draw. I don't know. I mean, I don't blame people for the way their cats are. A lot of it is just genetics, the circumstances of their birth. Especially if you get it like a shelter cat, you just never know what they've been through. Maybe I just got lucky, but Watson was like this. Grendel was a little more neurotic, mostly because of him. She was actually really chill before I got him, and then she kind of got surly. But I think they just kind of respond to the lifestyle. I think if you have a really simple lifestyle and you're home a lot, they get very socialized and they just like become chill. I think a lot of people's cats are troubled because just, you know, people are in and out all the time. There's all these different people coming over and there's just like high strain, and that makes cats more antsy, I think. Tabbies too, though. My experience with tabbies is they're always cuddly like that. Emily, yes, the wind gets very spooky. When it's really raging, it is kind of terrifying being out here because it just feels like it's going to rip the world apart. When I first moved into that shed, and I hadn't really, you know, verified the structural integrity of it, I was genuinely scared that it was going to collapse on me, because it's like, I don't know if this thing's built for this. It was built by a company based on the west side. I don't know if they know about the winds out here. And you could feel the whole place moving in the gusts. It would like wobble side to side, which is really unpleasant feeling. But I've gotten used to it, I guess, now, because it's happened so many times and nothing has ever gone wrong. So I just wait it out. It's a frustration. Like it'll happen when I'm in the middle of a project and I just have to grab all my tools and run and hide. But then it's sort of like the plus side. It's like, well, now I have a great excuse to sit on my computer all day. The rare opportunity I get to play video games guilt-free is when a windstorm is happening. Not that there isn't usually tons of work I can do on my computer as well. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's been delightful chatting with you all. I think the bees have just discovered my drink. They're coming for me now. Bob is like, will you shut up already? Nobody cares. So, yeah. Thanks for popping in and keeping me company on this desolate, windswept peak on this lonely Saturday night. I do have another video brewing. It's going to be short and sweet one. I'm going to kind of start it. I think I've done about enough of like the construction stuff. Making that last one was pretty exhausting, and I feel like, man, I don't think most people care about like the ins and outs of DIY. It's not really what people are here for. So I'm going to start focusing more on like the experience stuff, like the more poetic observations about being out here in this strange world. And I'm going to do one about the sky soon, and just how bizarre and dramatic it is out here, and how underrated the sky is. I feel like people do not talk enough about how amazing the sky is as like a realm. So we'll do a little vignette about that. Hopefully we'll finish by next weekend, because it should be an easy one. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Assuming most people in this chat are subscribers, thank you for hanging around this channel. I think I will do the live more often. Look at this guy. He's eyeing my drink. Because this is fun. And, you know, it's a good way to like check in with you all when I don't really have videos coming down the pipe. And, you know, give you a chance to enjoy this environment in a more slow and casual way. As my cocktail box flaps in the wind. Still waiting for that sponsorship, Cutwater. I will get wasted off your products if you send them to me for free. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Marion and Bob out.